Hello guys, how you doing? I'm Terry Ann the writer, and this is my brother Nikolai, and we're coming to tell you how we met for the first time.
Hey everyone, how we doing?
Right. So most siblings usually meet when they're young. I'm a little older than him, so we would have met whatever. We have the same father but different mothers. And our father have quite a bit of kids, so we're not, six that we know of. We're not going to say for sure if it's six. And a few months before I've got the phone call from Nikolai, we asked my father, meaning me and my other siblings, asked him how many kids he had. And he said, I have 5 kids, which would not have included Nikolai. And a few months later, I get a phone call because Nikolai is calling me. As an act of not allowing us to know each other, because even another sibling, I didn't know about him till he called me, but then my mother knew about him. But him and my mom and my father separated years and years ago. So when I called him, and he did verify that Nikolai was his son. So then I decided to call Nikolai right after I called him to get a understanding and try. And I was a little excited though, because I mean, it's a sibling. I'm not trying to deny any of my siblings. Let us know about each other so we can embrace each other. And I came to the house the same day. Yeah, I almost got into a car accident because I was so excited to meet him. But I didn't stop at a stop sign. I remember everything about that day. I even remember exactly what I had on that day.
I remember because
because it was such. I really thought it was just like a really exciting time to get to know somebody, one of my siblings.
It is. It was.
And then we actually had a talk because you didn't know about the other siblings. So we had, again, it's 6 of us. I told them about the rest of them. And I don't know how long after that you started communicating with them.
It was shortly after, I think a few months after I started reaching out, because once I had their number, I got their number, I started reaching out and they started calling me back, and we started communicating, and it's been nothing but amazing, fun times wherever we go. And I'm just glad that I was able to interact, meet, and know my siblings, because anything can happen. You could be, and as she mentioned, we would live like 20 minutes from each other. Anything could have happened, and we would have never known that we were related. So yeah,
I mean, we have the same last name, and our last name is a little out of the box. But even then, you still don't know. But after I met Nikolai, I actually called a few of my siblings and told them. I think even before I went over and met you, I called them. No, it was after, because I was so excited to just meet you. I just immediately right over to meet you. But then I called the other 4 to tell them about you, and they was like, "What?" Everybody was excited and then shocked at the same time because we just heard the number 5 a few months prior to that incident, and now all of a sudden now we've got an extra one. So that's why we keep saying, we make the joke all the time that hey, we never know, another one might pop up later on down. But he still haven't. Well, he didn't claim Nikolai till we actually met him, so we don't know what's going to happen with our father. But not to say, and again, we still love him. We take him by a grain of salt, but we do love him. But you've gotten to know all of the siblings since
met
then.
Everyone, and we have spoken. We have a good relationship repertoire. It's just crazy to know that most of my life I grew up thinking that I was the only person. I was the only child. Only to find out that I'm the last.
And only to find out you have 5
other siblings. That is, so it was definitely a shocker, and taking me back to say, hey, all right, I guess I'm the baby, or the, as Jamaicans would say, the wash belly of the family, that we know at the moment. So, but it was good though to definitely meet and to interact and just to know my siblings, because as I mentioned, it is good to know your family.
But you said you met him when you was like 12 years old for the first time, right? Our father. Was it 12, 13 years old for the first time?
13, 14, somewhere around there. I spoke to him when I was 12 for the first time. Actually, spoke to him on the phone when I was 12. And then we didn't meet until a year or two later.
And he lived in New Jersey and my father lives in New York.
Yeah.
They were too close for them to not meet a year later.
But the sad thing is that I was the one that actually went to New York, looked him up and found him and, called him. And he came to see me while I was in New York. Not the other way around. Usually you would think the father or the parent would be trying to reconnect with their child, but I was the one that actually reached out when I was in New York for Christmas one year, which, that thing was just sad.
Yeah,
to know
that is sad.
As a child at 13, 14 years old, you have to be trying to reach
out to your parent, and when they should be reaching out to you. Yeah, that is. But, he wasn't really good at. And the crazy thing I don't like is that he was never on drugs. He was never not working. He always had a job, always had a decent job in New York City. So, and I'm not saying that money was everything, but I'm saying at least connect with your children because that's what,
time is important.
Right.
Spending time is important.
Because the kids don't care about money. Most of the kids, any child you say is, they'll tell you if their father was broke. They'll be like, the most thing they'll say, me and my father used to do this. We went to their house for the weekend. And, as you get older, they might care a little bit about certain things they have, but they care more about the time spent than the money spending on them. And that's with any child. They just want their parent to be around, whether it's the mother or father.
It don't matter. That is right. They want to be able to build a relationship and a repertoire with their family or with their parents. So, when you don't have that, then it draws a division in that aspect. But we have gotten better. We're still waiting to have that conversation with him, though.
Yeah, and it's a well-needed conversation with all 6 of us. 7 if we find another one. And look, if it's another one out there, trust and believe we are willing to accept you with open arms.
Open arms, because you're a part of us, and we're not going to shy away from our own. So. Right, because
immediately we all connected immediately. Nobody was like, hey, we don't want you as a brother, we don't want you as a sister. We was immediately like, hey, even like your graduate, because that year you graduated, I didn't go to your graduation, but I came to your graduation get together. Came to the house. I think you spent the night at my house a few times. I mean, we're siblings. There's no need for us to have any kind of ill will, or even ill will towards him. He's still our father.
Of course.
And people, people might be like, he was a deadbeat father.
Yeah.
But he's still our father, and no matter what, I'm going to have to love him. I don't have to, but I'm going to love him.
That's right.
I'm going to embrace him. We're not close. You and him are not close.
No.
I know you probably spend more time with him in the last few years than I have.
Definitely. In the last few years, we have spent more time together. But still not close because that conversation, as mentioned, still need to be had.
Right, I think so
once
too.
It's not had, there are still doors that are closed because it needs to be had.
And I've had a conversation with. I told you that I had like a 2-hour conversation with him, and I don't know if it's because I just think he was in complete denial, or maybe he just don't want to accept it. But he asked for that. He asked me why I was upset at him, and I had the conversation, but. I do think as he get older, he's more willing to do certain things because I don't know what was going on when he was younger. But you still had 6 kids. You still should have connected with them. And the only thing I can say is, and this might be funny, but at least he treated us all the same.
That's true. There was nobody equal got rights across the board.
Yeah, it was nobody. Yeah, we was equal rights. Everybody didn't get nothing. Didn't get
denied. That's the only thing you got denied. Pretty much. But
he didn't take care. He had 6 kids and he didn't take care of not one. But again, I think all of us still love him because all of us, when he called us, we still talk to him. Maybe one, maybe not like him so much, but I'm gonna say 5 out of 6 of them still deal with him when he called.
Dealing with a high percentage.
It doesn't considering what he was not really around that much. But just to say, it has been good getting to know you.
It definitely has been.
We don't live in the same state anymore.
No.
He's just here visiting, and I just decided to ask him if he remember how we met.
Yeah.
And let's do a video because
I was happy to.
Yeah.
Definitely, 'cause, you know,
I think it was interesting. I think it's an interesting story for people to know, you know, because, you know, siblings, and then the only thing I'd be thinking, like, you know, even though we still have the same last name, I think family should get to know each other, because then a cousin of mine, Wayne, said he almost dated our sister, you know what I'm saying? So you get to know your family, so you won't be dating them or won't be, you know, so they'll know who is who, even though we probably wouldn't have dated because we have the same last name.
And that's a unique last name.
Yeah, very unique.
But,
so
family definitely need to get to know each other. Because I mean, it's just important to know each other. And not just that, but, you know, I was glad to do this video as well, because a lot of people out there might be resistant to, you know, to meeting their other sibling, because they think that, oh, you took me away from my father, or blah blah blah, or whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, that child had nothing to do with it. They were brought into the situation. Right. So I was just glad to be able to share this, maybe inspire somebody that's thinking, I don't want to be a part of my sister, my brother,
or even their parents' life, because you know, and not telling anybody what to do, but you know, for a long time I had a lot of resentment towards our father, and I didn't speak to him for a long time. But then after a while, I had to be like, it's only hurting me. Get over it, you know.
True, that's true.
For myself,
definitely have to forgive and move on, because, as you say, it's gonna eat away from you.
Yeah.
And you need that peace.
Yeah.
And that peace is important.
Peace.
That peace is important.
It was definitely important for me to get that peace out, and just be like, even though a lot of times the conversation we had, it was more like a denial situation. I was like, you know, for the sake of the relationship and the sake, I got my conversation out. I still feel like all 6 of us need to have a conversation with him together, and not to beat him down, because, you know, but just to see like why certain things. But again, I don't want to beat him down, you know.
No, definitely not, because I mean, I'm sure that he's having regrets and so forth, but
I think so.
At the end of the day, it's just having that conversation to be able to say that, okay, now we have that full peace that we've been searching for, as well as for himself as well, because at the end of the day, we all love him, as we keep saying, and as we mentioned. But it's just to be able to close that chapter or that door of our lives.
Because we're not going to be here forever, you know?
Definitely not.
And he's not going to be here forever. And, you know?
We want to be able to close that chapter and heal from that as much as possible. Not that we're not healed in some aspects.
I think we still have some underlying hurt about it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I still don't want to hate him. And that's the reason why. But... you know, we could just close. That's it, right? Let's say what you have any last thing to say?
It's been great so far. So
with the siblings,
and him. I can call any and yes, with him. You know, in these last couple of years, he has been coming around more, but it's just that conversation we need to have, you know, before we can push forward. But it has been great. I can call any of my siblings up and we can chat about anything, or I can say, hey, I'm coming into town. I don't even have to get them any type of notice, and they're like, sure, come on. Or they might joke around and say, where you going? We don't want you here. But it's all in good fun. So it's just been great knowing them and, you know, growing and having that no longer I'm the only child type of mentality. You know?
That's good. I'm glad that we were able to meet you. And then we still have this long relationship, and then we have years to come, you know, to go as siblings. But again, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you all.
Subscribe. Be blessed. Be safe. Always follow your dreams. Unless your dreams is to hurt someone, then don't follow that. That's true.
That's right. I like it. You know, I like it.
All right.